there's something changing in the ethos of our country, of our state, of our city, that is making people feel that college is not worth it. So when you're in your studies, in your conversations, do you have any, I don't know, gut as to why
Sure.
that is?
Well, I think that lack of faith in universities is something that people point to a lot. And then they draw the conclusion, well, that means universities aren't good, et cetera.
Right.
But actually, I think you see a similar lack of faith in all sorts of institutions. For generations, we basically said, hey, play by the rules, work hard, and things will work out for you. Institutions in general. But that really, the world, the economy, the paradigm has shifted pretty significantly. That's just not reality anymore. And a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle, I think rightly, feel like they've been lied to. You told me, go to school, work hard, and I'll be better off than my parents, right? And that's not the case as much. And which is why what's so important is that our solution can't be keep doing more of the same.
Welcome to the Better Things Podcast, where Detroit's change makers and boldest voices come together for authentic conversations. We highlight people who are building businesses, shaping culture, and driving progress one neighborhood and one voice at a time. I'm Diallo Smith, the president and CEO of Life Remodeled, and we're going to dive deep into the heart of the city to hear directly from those who are forecasting and shaping the future of our city. Today, we're here with Ned Staebler, president and CEO of TechTown Detroit and vice president of economic development at Wayne State University. Let's get into it. Ned Staebler, what's going on, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Okay, so we have a big dog amongst us, and I'm going to just give a little bit of our bio to your bio to our audience. So Ned Staebler serves as both president and CEO of TechTown Detroit and VP for economic development at Wayne State University. I don't know how you do both of those at the same time, but you do.
Badly is how I do it, yeah.
So in those dual roles, you oversee Wayne State's efforts around entrepreneurship, innovation, commercialization of university research, business attraction, and the list goes on and on and on. But before then, you spent a little bit of time at MEDC, and you were overseeing the Michigan Strategic Fund Board, which at the time bought in $2 billion for the 21st Century Jobs Fund, one of Michigan's largest innovation investment initiatives. And you're a U of D Cub. It's okay.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs.
Yep.
Then after that, you got your bachelor's degree from Harvard University, and then your master's degree from London School of Economics and Political Science. Ned Staebler, welcome to Better Things, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I always start off by validating your Detroit card.
Okay.
All right. So first one's easy. What is your favorite Detroit neighborhood memory?
Neighborhood memory. Favorite one. I got a lot because I grew up in the University District on the Northwest Side, and I think my favorite one was the block parties that we used to have back in the day. You know, everybody would come out. We knew everybody on the block. We would close off the street and have parties, like in the summertime, and ride our big wheels around. And
big wheels.
Now I'm aging myself.
Yeah, I was going to say big wheels. I know what they are.
Yeah, fair enough. Green machines, maybe.
Yeah, I remember those too.
Yeah.
We had Chip's big wheels. Me and my younger brother.
Ooh, I like it. Ponch and John.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so that was good. So block parties. All right. So favorite Pistons team. 88, 89 Bad Boys?
Yeah.
Or 2004 Going to Work?
That's just silly. Bad Boys.
Okay, all right. Okay, you're good. All right, now this is for all the dice.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
All right. Favorite flavor, Faygo, red or grape?
Rock and rye.
All right, ding, ding, ding. I'll go with that too. That was an outlier, but you know what you get for being in your Detroit card? You get this fancy mug that says Durfee Innovation Society. It's worth something, so hold on to it.
Don't sell it on eBay? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's going to appreciate it.
My Vanna White over
there.
Exactly.
All right,
it's
going to appreciate in value as the time goes on. So listen, very, very accomplished. Not there are very few people in the world who have the opportunity to graduate from Harvard and then to go on to London School of Economics and Political Science. So why Detroit? What was it about Detroit that made you say, I want to come back and invest my talents?
Sure.
In Detroit.
Growing up, and to fully validate the Detroit card, I was born in Detroit at Hutzel Hospital. I went to Detroit Public Schools through 6th grade. First at my neighborhood school, Hampton, and then down at Burton at Caston Peterborough, right across the street from Chung's back in the day, and before I went to UAD. And but even then, growing up in the 70s and 80s, you could tell Detroit was having hard times. I mean, it was a real struggle. And I remember growing up and thinking, man, some of us need to pitch in, and no one's coming to help us. We need to band together to build this thing. I think it was part of that Gen X mentality. We were latchkey kids and we got used to just doing stuff by ourselves. And so I always had part of my sort of life plan and vision and goals to go out, always from the age of 10 years old. I remember telling people, I'm going to go to Harvard, learn a whole bunch of stuff, and then come back here and get to work on, helping to fix up what's wrong in Detroit.
And so when you came back, I mean, I'm sure there was a time before this, but most recently at TechTown, right? Which is interesting because I'm old enough to remember when TechTown first launched, right? And the impact that it's had. But I was just looking at some of the 2025 impact reports from TechTown. So 1,200 plus entrepreneurs served, 1,000 plus small businesses supported, 77% of tech founders served were historically underrepresented. And more than 50% of the entrepreneurs were returning clients, demonstrating long-term engagement, 2,000 plus jobs created. And then this is the one that I really fixed myself on. Nearly 9 million in revenue generated by supported tech startups. So TechTown's doing some big things. And so for our audience, because people, if you're driving down Woodward, you might see TechTown, but you may not know exactly what it is or its relationship to Wayne State. So give us a little bit of a fill-in on that.
Well, and the fact that it's called TechTown, so you assume all we do is tech.
Right.
And the reality is we don't. So TechTown was created by Wayne State University in a partnership with Henry Ford and General Motors to commercialize the tech out of the university and the health system 25 years ago. And very quickly we expanded to help anybody. You don't have to be affiliated with Wayne State or Henry Ford or anybody to come through our programming. And then maybe about 13 or 14 years ago, we said, the same stuff we do to help a tech business, so if someone's doing a mobile app or a medical device, whatever, that works for everybody. So today we will help you if you're starting a restaurant, a coffee shop, a barber shop, a manufacturing firm, you're selling stuff online. We'll help you do that legally, more effectively, and pay some taxes, hopefully. And also with generating more revenue, so that you can improve your quality of life for yourself and your family. And so we're still affiliated with Wayne State, but we help anybody across the city and really across the region. To date, we've helped over 9,000 entrepreneurs who've gone on to raise $500 million in startup capital to grow their businesses.
And again, that's any type of business.
Anytime, I don't care what you're doing. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody who can. Just come in, TechTownDetroit.org is the website, but come on in and we'll help you out and get you going where you need to be going.
So we were here in this building about a year ago for TED Detroit. And you were one of the speakers. And, you and I.
So were you.
I was just a host in the MC, I'm just trying to make sure everybody's comfortable. Although I was very proud that we were able to host TED. And with respect to all of the other speakers, because they were all prolific and great in their own right, but I really paused and listened to your presentation. And what stood out to me about it was you do a lot of things. You wear a lot of hats. You could have chosen to talk about anything, but you chose to focus on essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, why a college education can change the trajectory of your life. And it was such a fascinating conversation because, and we'll dive into this. There's an overarching sentiment that I feel taking place in our culture today that a college education, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
That's why I chose it, because that narrative is getting out there, and it's really dangerous not only for individuals and for their families and for their futures, but also for communities and states, because there's no greater predictor of how well a place is going to be, whether that place is a city or a region or a state, than the education level of the people who live there.
So let's dive into that a little bit, and I'll give a small anecdote. I intentionally brought some of our high school students to TED Detroit because I wanted for them to be familiar to hear some of these conversations. And there's one young man, he's a 10th grader. He came up to me afterwards. He said, I want to talk to this guy. And so I remember introducing you to him. And later on, maybe the next day, the group of us that came there were about maybe 12 high school kids. We had a debrief. And I asked him, hey, what was the most impactful conversations that you heard? And the vast majority of them pointed to your talk. Now, these are high school students, many of them graduating, right? But so I said, well, what was it about the conversation? So there were two things that stood out. One, they said, well, he said, and they called he.
I'm he.
Mr. Ned. Mr. Ned said that you can make, I forget the statistic, you can tell me, like way more money.
Like $1.2 million on average over your lifetime.
Over your lifetime than you could without. But then the other thing, and this is one young man who stood up and said this, he said, oh, that's good. He said, but what I like was that I can live longer.
Yeah. On average, about 10 years longer.
So I want you just to dive in a little bit for our audience, because there's a lot of confusion out there, man. A lot of people hear things from a lot of different spaces.
Yeah.
You tell us why college education.
Sure. So, and I think one of the reasons why, and I hear this, and I'm going to toot my own horn, people say, oh, that was really compelling. And I think the answer is because intentionally what I try to do is start with, you probably think X. Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to dispel that notion. And that instantly makes people think, wait a minute, I'm wrong. I'm never wrong. I'm always right, right?
Yeah.
And then I drop a whole bunch of data on them. And so to your point, there's a lot of conversation now about college isn't worth it. And it gets intermingled with some things that are true, and that waters down the original statement of college isn't worth it. Because college isn't worth it is completely and utterly false. And I'll drop that data on you. But if you say college is expensive, yeah, sure, we can talk about that. If you say you don't need to go to college, no, you don't need. There's lots of people who are very successful without going to college. Those are all true. A lot of people go to college and they don't end up using that degree. This is all very true, right? But college isn't worth it? Now that's not true, right? So just in the last 5 years, people's faith in college and as institutions, like universities, is down over 20%.
Yeah, I saw that.
People saying it's really important to go, and now they're like, I don't know if you really need to, which is crazy because the economic return on a college degree is the highest it's ever been. It's over 12.5% a year. The New York Fed does a study every 2 years on it, where they calculate all the input costs, your opportunity costs, because you could go out and get a job instead of going to college for 4 years. And then how much you're going to make afterwards. And it's the highest it's ever been. That premium for going to college means you're on average, this isn't for everybody, right? You might go to college and, just because you go to college, it's not a magic ticket, right? If you decide you want to then go hang out and, I don't know, sit on the beach the rest of your life, you're not going to make $1 million, right? But the average amount is $30,000 to $40,000 more a year. Than your counterparts that don't. So sure enough, they worked for 4 years making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 while you were paying. But you start catching up real quick, and over the course of your life, it's much, much better.
Yeah. So I find that to be interesting. And so I remember when the 2024 elections was taking place, national elections was taking place, and they were doing all of these studies and surveys to understand voter sentiment, right? And most of them were Michigan-based, the ones that I were paying attention to. And I found this to be like really fascinating. When they were analyzing people who have more of a Republican sentiment versus those who have more of a Democratic sentiment, the numbers were not even close for those persons who do not feel that a college degree is worth it, were primarily people who would vote Republican. Interesting. Versus those who do. Okay. Or do think it's worth it, were trended a lot higher with it amongst the people who would vote Democratic. And what was interesting about that is that if you go back 20, 30 years, that would be like absolutely flipped. And so that got me to thinking, man, something is happening, right? There's something changing in the ethos of our country, of our state, of our city, that is making people feel that college is not worth it. So when you're in your studies and your conversations, do you have any, gut as to why that is?
Well, I think that lack of faith in universities is something that people point to a lot. And then they draw the conclusion, well, that means universities aren't good, et cetera.
Right.
But actually, I think you see a similar lack of faith in all sorts of institutions. For generations, we basically said, hey, play by the rules, work hard, and things will work out for you. Institutions in general. But that really, the world, the economy, the paradigm has shifted pretty significantly. That's just not reality anymore. And a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle, I think rightly, feel like they've been lied to. You told me, go to school, work hard, and I'll be better off than my parents, right? And that's not the case as much. And which is why what's so important is that our solution can't be keep doing more of the same. We have to rethink a little bit what our plans are. And one of them is, somewhat ironically, more college degrees. Because we used to tell people, go to college or go to high school, get out of high school, walk across the street, get a job at the plant, and you're going to make really good living. Well, manufacturing job in Michigan, median annual salary is in the low $40,000 a year.
Right.
That's not middle class wage anymore.
So that brings you to something that I think is really important to talk about. And this is I would say a raging debate, broadly, but also a very strong debate even within the Detroit community context. So I'm not on social media often, but every now and again I'll pick up. And I was on LinkedIn one day, and I was like, oh shoot, they have poked the bear, right? So the name of this article that was written by somebody in Kiplinger was, get this right, why the college first mindset is an outdated relic that's failing us all.
Headlines are great like that. They love to say, college might not be worth it anymore. And then you read the article and it's like, oh yeah, college is totally worth it.
So speaking of reading the article, so then I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then who was the first comment that I see?
I don't know. Who is it? Who's on social media?
I was like, Twitter beef, LinkedIn beef is good. But Ned Staebler, but and I didn't take it in a way that was negative. I took it in a way of, man, this guy, that's something that pricked his nerves a little bit, and he wanted to create a counter narrative. But one of the things that the article talked about was this emphasis in this almost given expectation that college isn't worth it anymore, but skills trades is. Right. And so I've been kind of hearing and seeing, just like at the community level, at the neighborhood level, block clubs, schools, this tension between, hey, college, no, but to your point about getting a job at the plant or entering into something. And by the way, let me say this: I am a Detroit native because my grandfather worked at Ford. Right, went to World War II. After World War II, came back to Detroit, get a job at the plant, and our family did well as a result of it. Right, so and it's honorable work and it's necessary work.
And those jobs built the middle class.
Those jobs
absolutely, because they used to pay middle class wages.
Right, and then the pendulum switched. But this, I guess, almost like two butting heads between skills trades and college education. How are you assessing that as you see it from your lens as someone who's in higher education?
So let me start by saying, I think that we need to talk about three different avenues, actually. There's the no post-secondary credential, right? So people just graduate high school. And then there's the skilled trades where you have to go and get a credential, right? When people say skilled trades, they don't mean the person who's working in a plant going like this, right? Which, for many, again, honorable work, et cetera, and hard work, they mean the electricians, the plumbers, the that have another credential on top of it. And those folks actually do make middle class wages, and there's a decent premium for that. And so for some people, that is a very good pathway. The college degree is a harder path. It's going to take you a little bit longer to get, and there's another premium on top of that, right? So I don't think there is so much of a tension between the skilled trades and higher ed. Or there shouldn't be, because different strokes for different folks, right? And what I will say though is that from an economics perspective, there are only so many more skilled tradespeople that we need. That is, if you created 100,000 more plumbers tomorrow, we couldn't employ 100,000 more plumbers. 10,000 maybe. But 100,000, I don't know. Suddenly it'd be really cheap to get someone to come out and check on your plumbing, which would be good.
Right.
But at some point that'd be a challenge. If you created 100,000 more folks with a college degree, they get hired tomorrow, and it would create 50,000 more jobs from the growth that would create.
Yeah.
So from an economics perspective, from a policy perspective, were I thinking about the city's economic health, the state's economic health, they're very different sort of outputs.
So here's I always like to ask a let's keep it 100 question.
Yes.
Right. And part of me feels, and this is just based upon just feeling and just interpreting what I'm hearing, that college guys, women, they're
More women go to college than men do. By
I know
the way.
that's absolutely a fact. They're in a different class, right?
Ooh.
They don't know what's really happening, right? I'm here on the ground. I'm keeping it real. I can't afford to do this, but this is an option, right? So it's almost like college folk that are bougie and disconnected.
Let's dig into that a little bit, because
Yeah.
there is the narrative
Right.
that college just costs $1 million,
Right.
and you're going to leave with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and this and that. Now, I hesitate to be 100 and say that's just a flat out lie, because you can. If you want to go to college and pay $100,000 a year for it and leave with a ton of debt, you absolutely can do that.
Right.
You also absolutely do not need to do that, right? So let's look at some data. And so I always joke about, when I hear a story, I'm like, that's cool, that's anecdata, right? That people tell me, oh, I know this guy who didn't have a high school degree and he made $1 million. I'm like, okay, I know a guy with a college degree who makes $25 million. What's your point? But let's look at data, okay? The median cost, what it basically costs for someone to go for all 4 years to college in this country right now, out of their pocket, is $30,000 for 4 years. So it's $7,500 a year. Don't get me wrong, that's real money. On average. So, which means some people are doing it for $5,000 and some people are doing it for $25,000, right? Again, I'm not saying $30,000 is nothing. That is real money, right? Half of the people who graduate from college have zero debt when they graduate. Half. All right? And half of the people that do have debt have less than $20,000 of debt.
Yeah.
Again. So you can go to college. Many, 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 many people do. Half the people who do come out with no debt. And even the ones who do have debt, most of them, the majority of them, have less than $20,000 of debt. And don't forget, most of them are going to make $30,000, $40,000 more than the person who didn't. So you can pay off $20,000 of debt.
Sure.
Now, we all have heard the story, I got $100,000 of debt, I've been paying it for 20 years and I'm still $100,000 in debt. Yes.
Yeah.
But, and this is I'm going to keep it real, right? You chose to drive a Ferrari. Do not complain to me about the cost of gas or the insurance that you're whatever,
or the maintenance.
You come to Wayne State, the vast majority, almost every student at Wayne State, every undergrad is on financial assistance. 60% of them pay $0 out of pocket. Zero. 60% of the students at Wayne State. The median household income of a student at Wayne State University is less than $60,000 a year.
Right.
The state of Michigan's over 70. So these are people that are real people. When you say, I don't know what, college folks don't know.
Yeah.
No. Wayne State is educating real people, and the majority of them are not paying anything to come and get a bachelor's degree that is going to change their economic fortunes for life.
So speaking of which, and by the way, I loosely can relate to those college bills, because as a parent who has
I hear you. I got one too.
Has one, and
he chose to drive a Ferrari, by the way. But I'm not complaining about the cost of gas. I should.
You should.
Yeah, I'm making pay me back.
So if we're talking about Detroit,
Yeah.
you talked about Wayne State.
Yep.
Incredibly reputable institution.
Yeah.
I believe the third largest public institution in the state.
Yep.
Behind Michigan, or maybe Michigan State, Michigan, and then Wayne State University. Laundry list of incredible graduates. Right.
Yeah. One of the top 100 public universities in the country. I mean, we're a great school.
Tier 1 research.
Tier 1, we call it R1, research intensive university.
Yeah.
I mean, look, our football team's no good. I'll be flat out honest about that. Our football team is no good.
They're trending upwards.
No,
right?
They lost 0 games last year.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they won. They won 0 games last year.
They're trending upwards.
They can't go anywhere but up. That's true.
There's nowhere to go from up.
Yeah. But no one ever says to you, oh, I'm not going to hire you because your football team was bad, right?
Yeah.
They're going to want to know what you learned when you were in college. Our students are real. They're getting real jobs, both during college and after. They're coming out with life skills. They're learning how to think critically, communicate, collaborate, and use good judgment.
Right now, statistically, in Detroit, not Detroit Metro, Detroit proper, 19% of adults 25 and older have a 4-year degree.
Yeah, that's why Detroit is in the impoverished situation that it's in. That's it.
So that's a bold statement, because others would say, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. If you ask the average person why that is, you would hear a lot of answers, but you probably would not hear, oh, well, because we just don't have enough college educated people. So it sounds like if you could give like a PSA.
Yep.
If we were to get in the car right now, grab a bullhorn, drive down Dexter, drive down Linwood, you would, on your bullhorn, you would say a college education is worth it and can change the trajectory of our neighborhoods, of our city, and of our region.
And come to Wayne State for free. You go to school in Detroit, Detroit Promise, you come to Wayne State for free.
So take me through statistically why that is true. Why let's put our imagination glasses on, right? If that number was to increase from 19% to 29%.
Wow.
In the next generation. What would be, and let's assume that all of those graduates, or the vast majority, stayed within the city of Detroit.
Well, and you also say, who are they?
Right.
Are they the kids growing up here, went to college and stayed, or is it new people moving in? I mean, it's hard to model some of this stuff.
Let's say it's a combination of both, but we can't know everything. What would the end result be for Detroit if that happened?
Oh, it would be transformational. First of all, incomes would be significantly higher. All right. I don't know off the top of my head exactly, and it would depend on where those people were coming from and where they were starting from, et cetera, et cetera. But we would be far more better off from a prosperity perspective. The tax revenues for the city would be better. The commercial corridors would be better. The streets, the roads, the parks, the libraries would be better. We would be healthier. We would live longer. We would be generally happier. We'd be more civically engaged. We'd be more philanthropic. Almost every sort of positive thing you could think of goes up when you have higher concentrations of people with college degree. And here's the catch. It goes up for everybody. Just living next door to people with college degrees reduces your all-cause mortality rate significantly. So just having them around is good for you. And that really is. I mean, I know people will say, well, there's lots of causes. Absolutely, there's lots of root causes and contributing factors and all that. But if you were just to say how much of the per capita income disparity in Detroit is because of the education level, the answer is it's over 70%. It's the number one contributing factor in any, and it's not just Detroit, anywhere. If you go around and say 70% of the difference, you say this is household median income in an area, and this is how much it is in this particular area. 70% of it can be explained by the fact that in that area, folks have higher levels of education.
This is a question that I think I know the answer to. Right?
Oh, good. Those are the best questions.
I think I know the answer to. And listen, what I find to be fascinating is in these conversations about college education or non-college education. Again, listen, there is no judgment. Right, I have incredible friends, quite frankly, who don't have a college degree, but who are doing very, very well.
Absolutely.
I have college friends who have a college degree, who many would like to be doing better. Right, so it's all on the spectrum. But what I find interesting is that a lot of the people who are advocating for options that
your kids don't have to go to college.
The options that are not college educated come from people who have a college degree. Right,
and where are their kids going?
They're going to college.
This is what kills me. Is that you often have these, and I'm going to generalize. I'm going to throw bombs and all that. You often have upper middle, and upper class, generally white men, telling generally economically disadvantaged communities of color, don't worry about it. Your kids don't need to go to college. Get a trade. Go get it's honest work. It's too expensive. It's all that. Meanwhile, their kids are going to college and taking full advantage of all of the opportunity that they're getting because their parents are already in those economic stratas.
Man, I want to extend some flowers for going out on a limb and saying that,
But I want to, before someone watches this and goes, "Oh, Ned just said some racist stuff," I want to be clear.
Sure.
I don't think those people are intentionally saying, "Let's keep those communities down." I think they are accurately pointing out that it is difficult to go to college. It can be, especially when you don't have a lot of resources and all that, and that it would be easier to go into the trades or something like that, which do indeed provide better jobs and better incomes than you have now. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
That they're not intentionally telling communities to disinvest in themselves.
So last question, as we sign off. So the name of the show is called Better Things.
Yes.
And Better Things is a derivative from the Latin inscription of the city of Detroit flag that in English says, "We hope for better things." What is one better thing for the city of Detroit that Ned Staebler is hoping for?
Transit. Ned Staebler wants better transit in and around the city of Detroit.
You want to get to where you got to go?
I want everyone to be able to get to where they want to go, whether it's to get to work, whether it's to get to the doctor's appointment, whether it's to get to the riverfront or Belle Isle or whatever. I want it to be easier to get around, to remove that friction so that you could live in the city without owning a car, which costs a ton by the time you factor in, even if it's not a Lamborghini, when you factor in the insurance and the gas and hitting potholes and whatever, suddenly owning a car is really, really, really expensive. If you could just take a bus or an express bus or a train or a tram or ride a bike when you needed to, it would be a much more affordable city for everybody.
Transit. Hoping for better things.
That's right.
Ned Staebler, thank you, my brother.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Skills, trades, or college education. Maybe it's not about either or. Maybe it's about both and. But ultimately, what we all want is a better future economically and for our careers for every resident in the city of Detroit. Join us for future episodes of Better Things as we continue to have conversations with key voices across the city of Detroit. And if you want to learn more about Life Remodeled's mission, please go to liferemodeled.org. We'll see you guys next time.